Welcome to the Pure Performance Cafe. May I take your order?
Yes, I would like a shot of Pure Performance, please.
Coming right up.
Welcome to another episode of Pure Performance Cafe. This is now the last recording that I do from DevOps Tallinn in Estonia. And with me now, Acacio, Cruz. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, what a pleasure to listen to your presentation that you just giving us a little more insight into how managing large-scale microservices at Google. I know this is a big topic, and I'm sure you have different presentations that you do at different conferences. You recently also spoke at Dev1 in Linz, which thanks again.
Thank you
for being part of that. Just for the audience, maybe for those that don't know you yet, who you are, what's your role at Google, and also what are your highlights from your presentations?
So my name is Acacio Cruz. I started in Google in 2007 as part of the SRE organization, Site Reliability Engineering, and I was with the SRE for 9 years. And over the last 2 years, I transitioned to software development, where we build software infrastructure for development and production platforms.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And so we also met. I had the pleasure to also meet you in Zurich a couple of months ago, I think 2 months ago, and you already showed me another aspect where the way you handle load and how you measure all the requests.
Part of that work includes work on load management and load shedding specifically, making sure that services survive events where there's outages in infrastructure, loss of capacity, or a lot of users that arrive at the services. So that's a fundamental aspect of reliability at Google.
Yeah. Now, you're a big fan of automation. I heard this loud and clear today. And also take this back to my own work. We talked about MonSpec or monitoring as code, where you say interesting concept, but most of the stuff that I have in my config file right now can be fully automated, and you generated. So
we're talking about automation of automation, right?
Exactly.
So it's taking it another level where you not only automate the release and config pipelines and the monitoring pipelines and the testing pipelines, but you actually generate those configs through metadata. So if you actually build a system where you define and annotate your services, your code, you can start even a code with code annotations, then you can use all of that metadata to actually generate the configurations of your automation pipelines.
Yeah.
So you're taking it an extra step level, so where you can actually automate fully your service management infrastructure.
Yeah, I really like the example, again, where you said if you're writing a service, let's assume I'm a developer at Google, right? The way I got it. I said, I'm developing a backend service. So if I know what type of service I create, I put this into my into my service catalog definition, right? And based on that type, you or your system already knows who can call me, what type of endpoints do I expose,
exactly.
What am I allowed to call in the backend. So if I already know all of this, then I can automatically enforce, as you said, monitoring all. I mean, this is
exactly. And policies nowadays. We are in a regulated environment. GDPR is coming in force. Yeah. So if you, for instance, you have a backend that touches user data, you can actually enforce who can call your service. You can enforce that system logs the right way. You can also enforce other systems not to call your backend or not to connect your data store. You can apply all of these sort of policies that people nowadays either code manually or actually implement and verify manually, which is even the worst scenario. You can actually start building this intelligence over your production system, which can then be leveraged in many ways.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe another thing to touch upon is load testing. You also mentioned that you can obviously, with all this information, automatically generate all your load testing scripts as well, right? I mean, this is all there.
If you know your endpoints, if you know the type of your endpoints, if you know the name of your endpoints, you can generate the load testing for those endpoints. You can actually record the performance of a running service and then run it against a development environment and do the load testing automatically. And this is a generic mechanism, so it can actually be done from day zero of a new service.
Yeah, pretty cool. So Acacio, if people want to maybe follow you a little bit online and what you do, and I mean, obviously you have been helping writing books or contributing to books, what's the best way to learn more about your work?
I'm not very active on the social media. I did write one of the chapters of the SRE book that was edited by O'Reilly. My team actually wrote another chapter on load balancing and load shedding, but I plan to be a little bit more active on Twitter and Acacio at Acacio Cruz.
Okay, perfect. I will link that on the podcast page so people can at least follow you and see what's coming up in the future.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.